Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be diving into health as an inside job. I have a juicy episode ready for you, so let's get right into it. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. The sun is shining ever so brightly into like one sliver of my office, and I am 100% here for it today. We're closing out January in a few days. Hard to believe, but already in a few days, we're going to be rolling into February. It's going to be a brand new month already. How we have made it through an entire month in the year of 2026 already is kind of wild. And yet, here we are. January, we've been talking about health on the podcast and in the insights emails, and a gentle reminder / invitation if you have not yet signed up to receive the insights emails. I'd love to invite you to do so. Just click the link in the show notes or go to amyvanmeel.com / insights to get, the access to the insights. So the emails would come straight to your inbox. I wanted to start off 2026 focusing on the pillar of health as one of the pillars of a wealthy as fuck life, because I just think it's important that we kick off a new year, and this is also a new numerological cycle, really thinking about and honoring the physical bodies that we inhabit. But one of the things that I haven't talked about yet is that health is an inside job. So what does it mean that health is an inside job? What that means is that everything related to our physical form begins in our mind's eye first. It begins in our heart. It begins in that sort of cosmic, ethereal, divine space, the part, think about it like where your thoughts are residing, the part where your intuition comes in. Our health actually doesn't start in our body. Now, something that's very cool that I've been learning over the years as I've been understanding more about how our bodies work and how our systems work together, your brain is, think about it as like the most powerful pharmacy that has ever existed. Your brain is, and its connection to your bodies, and it's like, it's I can't think of the words. It's a system that so your brain responds to your body and your body responds to your brain. So there's like impulses going up and down constantly, okay? So it's not just that your brain has decided, okay, we're going to do this thing, and your body has no choice but to go along with it. It is, the two parts are of course connected, but your brain is the part that sends the signals to your body to create the hormones, the immune responses, the cells, the nourishment, like all the things come out of your brain's signals. So, your brain is what actually signals to the body for certain hormone production. And curiously, if you are not aware of this, ladies, the female brain is actually specifically wired for estrogen. It's specifically wired for it. It has receptors in the brain that are very like specifically modeled to receive estrogen signals. So what happens when we go through perimenopause is that it's not just the shutting down of the reproductive part of our life, right? It's not just that we stop getting our periods and that stops becoming a thing for us. It is actually also, and much more importantly, a complete rewiring of our brain. Because the main stream of estrogen, so there's actually, I think there's 3 different kinds of estrogen. The main one is the one that we all call estrogen, but they all have like a slightly different name. The one that we all know of, the one that we're all familiar with, the one that we all refer to when we talk about estrogen, that is the main estrogen hormone, and that's the one that is active when we are like going through our reproductive years, our years that we are have the ability to bear children. When we go through perimenopause, that stream of estrogen actually is what starts to shut down. But keep in mind, your brain is wired for estrogen. So when that consistent hormone begins to go away, there's a better word for it. Thank you for bearing with me today as my brain is like working through her things. So as that mainstream of estrogen begins to decline, that's the word I was looking for, begins to decline, and your brain doesn't receive it in its regular doses, then your body has to actually come up with a different form of estrogen. Now, I think I've talked about this in the podcast once or twice before, certainly about how the additional fat, and straight up it's fat, the additional fat that gets especially collected in and around our belly region is specifically related to the estrogen production of a different kind of estrogen, because your body actually will take that fat and turn it into the estrogen that it needs. And that estrogen, that we'll call it a type 2 estrogen. Again, I can't think of the actual names of them, but the type 2 estrogen is required for your brain because your brain is still, right, receiving estrogen markers. When we think about our health, something that you may or may not be familiar with is that the thoughts that we think, the visions that we hold in our mind's eye, the way that we talk about our body and to our body actually have physical impact on our actual body. If you're constantly saying, I'm sick, I don't feel well, I'm too fat, or I'm too skinny, or whatever. Like whatever the things that you're saying to yourself that aren't helpful, those things are actually having an impact on your body. If you keep expecting that your body is too fat, then your body naturally needs to keep being too fat in your mind's eye. Even if everybody else says like, no, you're healthy, you're slim, you're fine, you're whatever, like in your mind's eye, that's what you expect to see. So that's what you perceive looking back at you. And that can be what causes things like weight gain to happen. But to give you a really tangible example. So I've had moments over the last few years, like, and by moments, I don't just mean like, it's been a minute here or there, like weeks, months of this experience where I feel a lot of nausea. So until recently, actually, for, I don't know, 2, 3 months, maybe, every time I would finish having dinner, and it did not matter what I ate at night, but whatever it was for dinner, about 20 minutes after I finished dinner, I felt super nauseous. Now, I never ever threw up. I never got sick. And usually after, a few hours, it would pass. But because I never actually got sick and it didn't seem to matter what I ate, I'm like, okay. So if it's not actually the food that I'm eating, if I'm not actually like fighting the flu or fighting a cold or whatever, then this nausea must be getting prompted by something in my brain. So I believe, I can't remember for sure, but I believe that nausea is one of the symptoms of perimenopause. And this is not the first time that I've had nausea as a symptom, but this is the first time it's manifested in this particular way. Knowing that and anticipating that, I began to play with the creator part of my mind. And I began to go, okay, so I'd noticed the nausea, which is like what it takes a moment, right? Like my body sends up this signal that my conscious mind becomes aware of, hey, I'm feeling nauseous. And instead of, then kind of having this in the back of my mind concern, because I'd be spending time with my love, maybe we're going for a walk, usually we're watching some TV together or a movie. And instead of having that running in the background and then being like really afraid that it was going to get worse or that I was actually going to be sick or something, I began to breathe a little bit differently. So I took some deep breaths, which I'm always amazed how like your breath can make nausea go away. And I began to speak to myself in a very specific way. So I would, and I'm not saying these out loud. I'm literally sitting on the sofa next to my husband, right? We're watching TV and stuff. But I would say these things to myself, things like, I feel fine. I feel healthy. My body is very capable. I might sometimes like if it was like a really strong wave of nausea, I'd just be like, I'm fine. I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel healthy. I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel fine. And I would just breathe through that because what I wanted to focus on, not notice that my tone wasn't like, oh my God, I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel fine. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get sick. No, my tone was, I feel fine. I feel fine. I feel fine. And my body is going to respond to the fact that I keep saying to myself, just calmly and steadily, I feel fine. And that alone, and then the nausea would go away. Like it was amazing. So I noticed this correlation, and I don't know what caused the nausea in the first place because like I always like to reverse engineer. Like, okay, so then what was it that caused it in the first place? Cuz like shouldn't I cut it off at the root? But what I've come to realize is it actually doesn't matter what caused it in the first place. And my suspicion in these moments, anyway, are more related to the transition that my physical body is going through. But I get to choose how to respond in that moment to those things. So when I say your health is an inside job, think about this. Think about people who are constantly getting sick constantly they're coming down with a cold, they constantly don't feel well, they seem to always be under the weather or they've just come out of something or whatever, right? And they're sick forever and you're just like, Jesus, how are you sick again? Like, didn't you just have a cold? But notice the words that they say. Now you won't know obviously what's going on in their head, but you will be able to hear and practice some awareness around the words that they say on the outside. So if they're constantly talking about how like, oh, I always get sick and like, oh man, I just want to stay away from people because I'm constantly getting sick and oh, like I can't hang out with people and I like if you're noticing these messages of this constant, call it receptivity or openness to feeling less than well, then it stands to reason that their body will respond to that. And it's, we can get very chicken and egg when it comes to this of like, well, but I say that I'm always getting sick because I'm always getting sick. But am I always getting sick because I'm always saying that I'm getting sick? But I'm saying that I'm getting sick because I always keep getting sick, right? Like it does, and the truth is, and that's why I say the root itself doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point whether you're getting sick because you keep saying it or you keep saying it because you're getting sick. The point is shift how you are speaking about your health and about your body. if you're constantly talking about your physical um, limitations, that like you aren't graceful, you aren't capable, you don't, do sports well, whatever, then notice that that is very likely what is going to continue going through your life. Now, there is something that I am mindful of in two different ways in my life. So I seem to have a little bit of a propensity for falling downstairs. It's been a very long time since I have. But I have had some notable falls. I fell down some marble stairs in university, which was awesome, while I was carrying a model that I had not yet finished photographing, and I was speaking to my professor. The model got destroyed. I had to completely rebuild it in order to actually photograph it, which was hours more work that I just didn't have the time for. So that one really stood out of my mind. And another time that I fell down was I was actually at home. My husband had gone out for like a very rare guys' night out. And I was walking down the back stairs and I slipped on the top step and I slid all the way down to the bottom, like along my back. And 4 months later, my back ended up going out, which we figured out through like working with a really amazing chiropractor, was very likely due to this fall. So my point is, I've had some not awesome falls downstairs, and those are just two like really big ones. So I am aware that there is potentially a higher chance that I may be susceptible to falling downstairs. Now, I don't go around saying, oh, I always fall down the stairs. I always fall down the stairs. That's not what I go around saying. In fact, I very rarely talk about it at all, unless somebody notices that like I walk up or downstairs very carefully, or I like hold onto the handrail or something, and they might be like, Amy, this is easy, like let's just run up the stairs. And I'm like, yo dog, the older I get, the harder it's gonna hurt if I fall down these suckers. So no, I'm gonna just take myself easy. So I respond to these past experiences not by perpetuating this reality that has to keep coming that says, oh my gosh, I'm always falling down the stairs. I am aware that there is a possibility that I may be aligned to a higher likelihood of that happening. And instead, I focus my thoughts, my attention, and my movement in such a way that actually supports the story that says I move intentionally, I move mindfully, and I move in full awareness up and down the stairs. And I know that sounds like a mouthful, but like it's become so habitual now that when I go down the stairs, I never go down our back stairs without like I have a hand on something. So I have, because it's like an open an open hole. It's not a full wall on the one side. So I may have my hand on the floor of the level that I'm walking down from, or I have my hand on the handrail, sometimes on both, especially if I'm feeling a little dizzy that day or something. But I always have my hand on a rail. And I also take my time. I'm not racing down the stairs anymore. And the times that I do tend to go more quickly, I definitely like, sometimes I'll just straight up stub my toe, which sucks. But my movements mirror my ingrained focus, which is I move mindfully, intentionally, and like with clear, what was the third one? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Go back and you can hear it again. But I really pay attention to how I move my steps. So when we're thinking about health as an inside job, it's not that it has to be this like really hard thing. And in fact, it shouldn't be a really hard thing. If you are focusing on, like, if you have your thoughts focused on guilt or shame, or like beating yourself up in trying to change your habits, whether it's your eating habits or your movement habits or whatever, that's not going to work. Long term, it's not going to work. Okay, listen, like any Coach, healer, teacher, guide out there can tell you, yeah, like shaming and guilting somebody doesn't work. So why the fuck are we doing it to ourselves? It doesn't work, and yet and then we double down. I'm gonna shame myself into not eating that cookie, right? Like that's just silly. But that's certainly what we've been modeled. It's absolutely what we see reflected in the world around us, and definitely in movies and TV shows and all the rest of it. So it's not that like um how do I say this? It's not that we don't have influences around us that say, hey, this is how you should approach it, but it is that we have the choice whether or not we're actually going to follow through on that modeling, right? So, my challenge for you as we close out this month where we've been talking about health is to practice some self awareness for what is it that you're saying to yourself about yourself constantly. Every time you pass by the mirror, do you find yourself like shrinking away or having like a moment where you inwardly kind of like cringe at like, ugh, gross, that's what I look like? Ugh. Like if that's what you notice, that is your beautiful sacred body, the one and only vessel that exists on the planet, which houses your soul and your essence. And you're like, oh my God, that is what like my soul is hanging out in? Gross. Like, no, that's not what we want to. But I can speak for myself, and I'm sure that many others have a similar experience that like that has kind of become what our internal thoughts are like. I notice it most, and it makes sense I notice it most at this time. I notice it most when I am changing into my gym clothes. So when I'm getting ready to head down to the gym, I wear a pair of capris and a sports bra. That's it. My gym is in my basement, which is amazing. So I never have to worry about being like ogled or creeped out or whatever. It's just me and me, which I love. But as I'm getting changed in my bedroom and I'm swapping out whatever I was wearing before for my outfit, now I am seeing a moment of a reflection where I will actually see the skin of my tummy, for example. And I'm always very curious. Maybe one day I'll know the answer, but like that is the one part of my body that like always receives the most frustration from me internally. So as I'm getting dressed and heading down to the gym, I'm literally going to a space with the intention to move my body, to strengthen my body. Like the whole focus is on the physical form of my body. And I start that session with this moment of like kind of repulsion in the mirror of like, oh my God, that's what I look like. And becoming aware of that and beginning to shift that, and it's going to feel, I'm going to be straight with you, it will feel fucking weird at first when you begin to intentionally shift the things that you say to and about yourself, especially when it comes to your health. And you're going to feel like a liar. You're going to feel like, and there is going to be a part of your brain excuse me, that is going to like stand up real loud and real tall and be like, you're a fucking filthy liar. You have no idea what you're talking about. You know, you're super unhealthy. You don't eat the right things. You don't move enough. You're too fat. You're too tall. You're too short. Your legs are too thin. Your legs are too fat. You don't have a butt. Your boobs are too big. Your boobs are too small. Like that voice is going to keep going even as you are practicing shifting your internal state that is more in line with one that says, I honor the sacred container that is my body. I'm really grateful for it. I love my body. I am healthy. I am strong. I am fit. I am capable. I see myself in that mirror. And even though there are thoughts reflecting back to me that say, I don't like what I see in the mirror, I also get to choose because I hold the power anyway. I get to choose to send thoughts to that form and say, actually, you know what? Look at how fucking capable that body is. Look how beautiful that body is. Isn't it kind of magical and a little bit cosmically wild that this form, this, 5'8", 177-pound form, is like the whole thing that houses, that contains my entire soul essence? Like, that's when you actually start thinking about it and start talking about your body in that way, you're going to be like, holy shit. Say what? And here I am, like, beating myself up because I don't look great in these pants? Fuck, I'll buy bigger pants, right? Like, so what I want you to start becoming aware of, or if you've already been aware of this is my encouragement for you to flex into your next level of awareness for this, but become aware of what is it that you are thinking and saying about your body as it relates to your health. And play with your brain, like play with the amazing pharmacy that is your brain. The next time that that you have a cold, or that you just feel somewhat unwell, say different things to your body and to other people than "I'm sick, I don't feel well." Right? And stop doubling down on that, for the love of Pete. Stop doubling down on that. Now, here's the one thing that I do want to just add to that. That is not to say that you can't acknowledge to someone around you that you aren't feeling up to your normal self. Okay? If I'm feeling off, if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling sick, then I might let my husband know, or I might let like a friend of mine know, but I'm not necessarily announcing it to the entire world. I'm not telling everybody, "Oh, I don't feel so great today, but whatever, here I am. I'm just going to keep going." Oh my gosh, can we just talk about that for a minute? I cannot stand the conversations where you'll meet like random stranger. You're checking in at the doctor's office, you're buying groceries and you're going through the cashier, like whatever, you're in a space where you're having a conversation and you ask somebody like, "Oh, how are you?" And you just get this response of like, "Oh, I'm not feeling so great again today, but like whatever, I guess there's no choice in but being here." And you get it over and over and you're like, I'm not interested in this interaction. Like, I understand what you're hoping for. You are hoping for sympathy from me because that is feeding something in you. But like, as someone who actively coaches women and how to shift our perspectives and how to shift our energy, I'm like, I'm not here for this. I'm not here to like listen and somehow like give you the gift of pity and sympathy, empathy. If something is truly wrong, I feel for you. And like shift it, or like don't, but I don't need to hear about it, kind of a thing. Right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm trusting that makes sense. So, play with the pharmacy that is your brain. The next time that you're feeling any version, and I realize that might take weeks from now, and that will be awesome because wouldn't it be amazing that you feel so good and healthy for the next several weeks, the next several months, that it doesn't even cross your mind to go, "Oh, I don't feel so good. Oh, Amy talked about this in the podcast, so I can use this as a shift." So that's awesome. I'm celebrating that. And for those of you who may not have that as your experience, the next time that you are feeling a little bit unwell or a lot unwell, shift your thoughts. If you are experiencing a cold or some kind of like nausea, something like that, shift your thoughts from like, "Oh, I don't feel well and I just don't have any energy and like my body just feels so gross." Shift them into things like, "My body is healthy. My body has everything that she needs to restore my optimum health. My only job is to hold my thoughts in alignment with the health that I want to have and to nourish my body in response to what she needs." So when I actually like, it doesn't happen very often, thankfully, because I don't handle like being down very well at all. But on the few times that I might feel like I'm potentially dealing with a bit of a cold or something, then I know my I have 3 jobs and they're fucking easy. Job 1, rest thyself. My job is to nap It's to sit on the couch. It's to read an easy book. It's to watch a movie if I need to. It's to rest my fucking ass in one place. And that may not sound like a hard job, but for someone who really loves to be productive and doing things in the day, that sometimes feels like torture. So it is my reminder to self, Amy, job one is to rest thyself. Put your ass down. Stop trying to do everything. Okay. Job two is to nourish my body in response to what she needs. Now, that means that I'm paying attention to what would actually feel good in my body right now. Often, when I have a cold that is being processed by my body, I like crave, those like Mr. Noodles packages, like the ramen noodles, but specifically the Mr. Noodles ones. This podcast is not sponsored by Mr. Noodles, but maybe it should be. My body craves the Mr. Noodles noodles. So I don't necessarily love having them because they're full of a bunch of stuff that like I definitely would not normally have, like gluten and like a shitload of salt. And as far as they are, because they're just noodles and broth, really, they're pretty high calorie. But my body wants it. And I know there's something in that that my body is looking for. So, job number two is to honor my body by nourishing her with what she needs to get her job done. So, jobs one and two, rest and nourishment, are actually my work that are in support of my body doing her job of restoring my health. Okay? And then job number three is to align my thoughts so that I am consistently feeding the energy and feeding the impulses into my body to give her direction of where we are going. So I am not giving her the direction of we're going to keep being sick and it's going to get worse and it's going to last forever. No, I'm giving her the direction I am healthy. My body has everything she needs to restore my health to optimal levels. I feel fine. I feel taken care of. I love my body. I'm so grateful that like my only job is to sit my ass down here and maybe have some soup because my body's doing the big lift. Those three things are like that's it. That's my job for the time. And similar things when I'm having a particularly challenging period. It's like, okay, my job is to rest thyself. It is to nourish my body to help her move through this, and it is to hold the vision and be grateful, express gratitude. That's what I want to say. More better. Oh my goodness. Well, whatever. I'm sticking with it. More better. Express gratitude for the incredible machine that my body is. So I can't say it enough. Health is an inside job, and it's not like just about what you nourish, because that's definitely part of the inside part. Like all of the food goes through our body. Also, I'm going to just on that real quick note, someone shared this with me like years ago, and it really stuck with me and like deeply resonated with me. This is for all of us who have been taught not to waste food. We don't get rid of the last, mouthfuls on our plate. We don't throw away food in the fridge. We don't get rid of things that we don't like or whatever. Like we eat everything. And the messaging is like, you don't throw it away. Like, why would you throw that in the garbage? That's so wasteful. But it's something that like, I don't know, like you're already full, but you feel like you have to finish the last few bites on your plate. And there is going to be someone that listens to this and says, well, Amy, you could just put those bites in the fridge as leftovers. And I'm here to tell you that that is almost never going to happen in my life ever. Because generally speaking, like with the exception of a really tasty dessert, I'm not going to be saving like some potatoes and some veggies. It's fine. Those can just go in the composting bin. I digress. The thing that this person said to me that really struck me was, so I'm going to do my best to communicate it. It's clear in my brain the essence, but like filtering it out into the words so that you can actually hear it is causing me a small challenge. The idea is, if the option is between throwing it in the garbage or forcing it through your body, why are you putting garbage into your body? And that has always really stayed with me, this essence of like, oh my God. Like if those are my only two choices, either I throw it away because I don't actually want it, or it's whatever, or I put it into my body so that now my body has to process it. And let's be real, it ends up, in a different version of the garbage later anyway. Like when faced with that, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, that, then there's no sense in me actually putting this into my body. I mean, duh, but that really helped me clarify that. So, that's all I got for today, I guess. Let's end it there. I trust that this has really been helping you. If you want to connect with me, like in real time, something that I'm testing out this quarter is hosting a live discussion call. And this month's discussion call will actually be, so this podcast is going to be dropping on the 28th and it will be on the 29th. So this will be tomorrow if you're listening to this on the 28th. Excuse me. It's just a live discussion call. It's not going to be me teaching anything. It's only going to happen if people actually express interest and sign up to join me. It's unlikely to be recorded, I think. I don't think I'll record it because it will actually be real-time conversation. Anything that you want to maybe have questions about from what we've talked about this month, that you want some further clarity on, whether it's something in the emails that I've been sending or on the podcast episodes that I've shared, then please, you need to register for the call, because that registration is actually what's going to tell me, is anybody actually wanting to have these calls? And then I can send out a Zoom link so that we can connect. And yeah, so if that sounds of interest to you, then the link will be in the show notes. I think this month the URL is amyvanmeel.com/healthyaf, all one word. But the link will be in the show notes, and I'm doing these once a month at the end of the month, because of course we want to have the month worth of content and discussion, and I'm just going to test it out and see if there's any uptake. So register for that and join me on the live call if that sounds of interest and of service to you. I wish you a truly amazing rest of the week, and I'm sending so much love to your ears through the speakers and straight into that sexy, magical, amazing body of yours. And I'm just expressing some gratitude to your body for hosting in the most amazing, magical way this beautiful soul that you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear, sweet, sexy bod, for just containing this amazing person, because the world would be lesser without her in it. I will see you next week, my loves. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following @AmyVanMeel, or visit my website at amyvanmeel.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.